and welcome here to Talk FCB, and welcome today to a huge transfer news roundup. We have got so much on the agenda, so sit back, relax right now, and let's get in to talk about Mateu Alemany. He is leaving Barca, but why is he? We're going to be going into all of the reasons behind his shock exit from the club. We're also going to be talking about Raphinha. Barca have received a huge bid for him, but should we accept it? Will we accept it ahead of the summer? We're going to be looking at both sides of that, and as well, Ansu Fati. Big news on him as well, as we witness another twist in his future. It is all on the way. I thank you indeed for joining me today, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. So come on, and let's do it. Because let's first of all kick right off with that huge news that broke last night after Barca officially confirmed that Mateu Alemany will leave the club this summer, 1 year before his contract was scheduled to come to an end. And although the club did stress that he will complete the summer transfer window, even if it means going right up until the final day of the market, that is some comfort to us. But we're all aware that is going to be a massive loss in the long term. So how exactly did all of that come about? For me, it seems like quite a sudden decision, quite an abrupt exit from the club for Alemany. And based on what we're hearing in the media right now, there was a lot going on behind the scenes, and there were a few key factors which may have triggered Alemany's decision to leave Barca. Now, one of those factors almost certainly was Messi's potential return to the club. It has been reported since the Alemany departure announcement by multiple sources that Mateu Alemany was not really a fan, not necessarily of bringing Messi back, but how we'd make that possible. And by that I mean that Alemany did not really agree with the contract renewals, for example, of Sergio Roberto, of also the one that's on the table there for Sergio Busquets, and possibly even Jordi Alba. Now, Alemany's feeling was Barca needed a bet on the younger players, that renewing the veterans in the squad wasn't really the way to go, and there was starting to be some disagreements amongst the board at Barca, and not everybody appears to be on the same page. And I think it's actually more than that, because from where I'm sitting right now, I look at Mateu Alemany, and he seems like the kind of guy that likes to get creative in the transfer window, that enjoys a real challenge, enjoys there being at the heart of a project. You look at what he was able to do last summer. It was absolutely incredible there to operate within the restrictions that we were under and do the business that we did. He was responsible for so much of that, and I just think it's a case here that when you're talking about Messi's return to the club, renewing some of the older players at the club, I honestly just feel as though Alemany feels that wasn't really his style. That's not really the kind of director of football that he was, and maybe he's not best placed to sort of handle the next part of that project, whatever that may be. And now he feels as though he wants to go and try something new, because the other significant reason behind his departure, make no mistake, it's all about the Premier League. It is all about their, specifically, Aston Villa. Now coached, of course, by Unai Emery, they're having a very strong second half of the season, and they have been trying for quite some time now to convince Alemany to join their club. And we know the kind of money the Premier League can offer. They're reportedly willing to quintuple his wages to get him to join the club, and it's also the kind of exciting, challenging project that Alemany is looking for. And I just think right here, with those disagreements within the board, Laporta as well, perhaps maybe not seeing eye to eye there with the president, and the differences in opinion that have formed, they just pushed Alemany over the edge. He's had this offer from Aston Villa now for a long time. They've been trying to recruit him, and I just think this has been the final straw. That is why now he's leaving before the end of his contract in 2024, and like I say, he will be a significant loss to our club. He's been brilliant for us, especially during a challenging time, and I really do wish him all the very best. But sticking here with the summer transfer window, we now move on to Raphinha. And again, the Premier League is about to play a significant part, because Gerard Romero came out this morning with an enormous report. He says Barca have received an offer worth €80 million for Raphinha from Newcastle United. We all know they're having a fantastic season in the Premier League. They're currently third right now. They are building an exciting project there, and quite clearly they have huge money to spend. 80 million is on the table from them for Raphinha. Now, a reminder here that last summer, of course, it was only last summer that we signed Raphinha from Leeds. That fee right now remains undisclosed. We don't know exactly how much it is, but it was ranging there between 60 to 67 million euros. So either way, if Barca accept this offer from Newcastle, they would make big profit on a deal that wasn't even 1 year ago. But will they accept it? That's the big question. That is what we have to discuss right now. Would you, I'm asking you guys right here and now, would you accept 80 million for Raphinha? Let me know immediately in the comments, because I want to take you through both sides of this deal. Because on the one hand, for me, it's rare that we get an offer this big. In terms of Barca and selling players, it always seems as though we do things on the cheap, that we never really get the kind of value that we're looking for. So to get an offer of 80 million, that is big, big money, especially given our financial situation, what we have to do this summer to achieve FFP in La Liga. An offer like that, money like that coming into the club, that is going to help us enormously if we wanted to accept it. But here's the thing, because from a sporting point of view and not a financial one, it gets a bit more tricky. Because although for me, Raphinha this season, in his first season at Barca, he has been inconsistent. There are plenty of things I feel that he needs to improve on to be a success here and to be the kind of winger that we need at the club. We've spoken about that very, very recently. But I'm just saying now, what happens if we sell him? Because then on the other hand, are you going to rely on Ousmane Dembele to do a whole season and to rely on him as your number one and pretty much only option at right wing? Is that really the best call to make? We know that he's had injury problems. We also know that he is entering the final year of his contract. So by no means is he locked down for the foreseeable future. So are you then going to rely on somebody like Ferran Torres? Is he not going to leave the club? Are we going to count on him as a sort of backup right winger on that side? Do you believe that he could do a better job than Raphinha? Or are you going to have to sign someone? Are you going to have to actually spend money then to replace Raphinha? And if you do, who's out there? What quality right wingers can you bring in? Who is available this summer? And how much of that money is it going to cost you then to replace him? And so with all of that in mind there, taking into account all different sides and what we're looking at here this summer, what would I do? Honestly, I would ask for more money, because I really do think right here that Raphinha, at the right price, at a kind of figure that would be 90 million, upwards of that, 100 million euros, I think it would be so difficult to say no. I really do. I think for the right price, Raphinha would be for sale this summer, but we need big, big money. We need extraordinary money to make sure that we have enough there to go out into the market, to strengthen if we need to at right wing, to replace him, and then with the rest of the money to strengthen another position. So you could effectively do 2 signings with the amount of money that we bring in for that. But don't forget that no matter what Newcastle offer, no matter what Barca want to do this summer, Raphinha's the man who has the final call. He is under contract right now at Barca until 2027, which means that he has to give the green light. If he doesn't want to leave, he doesn't have to. Only he will decide if he would be open to joining Newcastle, who I'm sure there could really bump up his salary, maybe a big signing bonus as well. Money would not be a problem at all. But what does Raphinha want to do? And what will Barca do with this huge offer that's come their way? However, this is when it gets very interesting, because as we now move on to Ansu Fati, I just start to wonder in the back of my mind right now whether a resolution on his future just happens now to tie in to what the club have received from Newcastle for Raphinha. Because not really from a sporting point of view, we know they're different positions, they don't really correlate with each other out there on the field, but again, from a financial one, that always seems to be the one that we're thinking of, because up until now, we'd actually assumed that it would be Ansu Fati. Of all the forwards at the club this summer, of all the players, he would be the one sacrificed in the summer transfer window. He could be the man to bring in serious income from a team from the Premier League, and he would be the man to leave. But has that all changed now? Because yesterday it was very, very interesting. During the game, as we were playing there against Osasuna, Jorge Mendes, Ansu's agent, was meeting with the club in Barcelona. And also, Jorge Fati was also present in the meeting. And upon the conclusion of that meeting with the club, Jorge Fati then was approached by journalists. After it had all finished there, he was coming out and he was asked really, what's going to happen with Ansu? Where is he going to be playing his football next season? What's going to happen this summer? And Jorge Fati openly said, Ansu will stay at Barcelona. He said, that's for sure. He stays guaranteed. And that is absolutely huge, because don't forget here, this is the same guy that said, if I could take Ansu out of Barcelona tomorrow, I would. He doesn't want his son to be here. He has no reason to lie, but he's saying he will. He will stay at Barcelona, and that it's now guaranteed. And don't forget, guys, that from the very word go, and right throughout this season, even during difficult moments, difficult times, Ansu Fati has always said, I want to stay. That's always been his belief. Even when his father was coming out talking bad about the club, Ansu, though, wanted to be here, wants to succeed here. And I think it's really interesting right now, if everything has just turned around, if Ansu is going to remain at the club. And I look at his performance yesterday, and it was interesting to watch Ansu, because on the one hand in front of goal, he was wasteful yesterday. He could have had 1, 2, maybe even 3 goals. His finishing wasn't there yesterday. He looks rusty in front of goal. But there was a big positive, because actually for me, he looked sharper though. Not in front of goal, but in his overall game. In terms of the way that he was moving, the way that he was getting on the ball, that he was demanding the ball, he was creative as well last night. And I just thought, in terms of his general play and movement and involvement in the game, he did look better. He did look sharper. And I would take that right now. I think the finishing will come back. We know that he can finish. We know that he can score goals. That is something he is able to do for sure. Given the right minutes, given the games, I think that'll come back. But I've been looking for that movement, for that explosivity that we've seen in the past from Ansu, but we didn't really know if it could come back. Yesterday for me was more encouraging. It was a step in the right direction, and the question now will be, is Ansu staying? Should he stay at the club? Is this the right decision to keep him this summer? And maybe Raphinha could be on his way out. But these are early days, guys. These are very, very early days. But on the face of it, what do you make of these big, big decisions that Barca are set to make? So please, guys, do indeed leave all of your comments, all of your thoughts, all of your feelings in the comments down below. What do you make of everything right now that is going on? It is absolutely crazy at Barca. Last night, we had a triple upload. I was uploading video after video on top of each other. It was unbelievable. But what do you make of it all right now? The summer is already kicking off, it seems. You know, we've got a title to win, and we can wrap that up soon. But there is already lots going on behind the scenes ahead of the summer. It's going to be an exciting one, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with all of you guys in these coming weeks and months. Let me know those thoughts down below. Thank you indeed for joining me here today for this video and for all of the others that are going to come. I really, really appreciate that, guys, and I will see you shortly. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.